This is Designed Happy, the podcast where we talk about the human side of home design, remodeling, and new construction. I'm TJ.
And I'm Katie, and today we're talking about what expensive really means when you're remodeling or building a new home. And you're already laughing. Why?
It's not because you and I moved stuff around in the notes. And I came like an eyelash, a whisper away from being Ron Burgundy and just reading what was written. Because when we changed the order of stuff, originally you were going to start this episode, but then we switched it to me. So I almost read it and said, I'm Katie.
I'm Katie, and I'm Katie. And today, our producer really should have been on that. Hey, Sylvia, yeah. What are we paying you for, Sylvia? Get on that. Jeez,
oh my
she's
God.
really not.
You're changing it in the notes
fixing
right
it now. And making sure. Never again. Never again.
It would
really
have been
dropped the ball
funnier
on
if I just read it the way it was.
And this is total nonsense. Okay.
For the people who don't get it, you go watch Anchorman. And then they'll get the joke.
That actually is a movie I've seen.
Yeah.
A long time ago. I mean, everyone saw Anchorman. That was during the time where, like, of course, like, even I saw that movie. Weird.
Weird.
Usually not the case. Okay. Hey, TJ.
We are A+ segues on this podcast.
I got a question for you, since it isn't assigned to anybody in the outline.
Yeah?
Okay. I'm going to need more than that, TJ.
What's the question?
Okay. What is something that you have bought that felt expensive? I can't do casual.
Was that casual?
No, that was no. I could. Hey, Teach. Can I call you Teach? Just wondering, what's something you bought recently that felt expensive?
That felt totally natural on this
Cash.
side. Yeah, totes cash.
But really,
so this will tie into part of the conversation later. But the most expensive thing, and we didn't buy it, we leased it. So we leased a BMW 3 Series. And
I don't know cars.
That it's like BMW's entry-level car.
Okay.
For us at the time, that was the nicest thing like we had ever. Like, that was the first time in our life where we were like, did we make it? Did we just make it?
Are we there?
I think this is making it.
This is it.
So the day we leased it, it didn't really feel expensive. The moment it felt expensive was when the air conditioner went on and it kind of smelled a little funny. And we're like, oh, that's weird. Like, this car's been so great. Why? Like, such a joy.
Yeah.
Why does the air conditioner smell weird? So, like, it was a lease. So it was like, not my problem, your problem, BMW. Yeah. So, like, we brought it in and we're like, the air conditioner just smells a little weird. And they were like, oh, no. That's not our problem at all. That's just how the air conditioner smells. And I was like, that was the exact moment I was like, this all of a sudden feels expensive. I thought this was one thing, but it's actually a different thing. Yeah. And now this feels like an expensive car.
What would you have said it felt like before? like in this situation, what is not the opposite of expensive, but like when the expectations and the reality match up,
Yeah, it
what
was
is it?
aligned. Like it felt comfortable. Like, right? Like that car cost more money, like
Mm-hmm.
than we had paid for cars in the past from like a monthly car payment perspective,
Yes.
but it didn't feel expensive until the car was something a little different than we thought it was. And then it was like, oh, our relationship to this car just changed. And now
Yeah.
I don't really want to spend this amount of money for this car anymore. And it felt expensive.
So it's at the point where you go, why am I paying this much for this
Yeah.
thing?
Yes. So it's like,
Yeah.
so we just learned that 9 months of the year, like when we're running the ace, like the car, like inside the car is just going to smell weird. It's like, that's, that's,
We just live with it? Okay. Okay. Is that the same as overpriced? Is that the like expensive and overpriced or
yeah, no, yeah, sure.
yeah.
I would say they're interchangeable. I feel like
Yeah.
we're leaving banter now and I need to reciprocate the question. Katie,
Oh, no,
oh, hey.
that was my plan. That was my plan. I was
You
like,
were trying, you were going to
let's
dodge the
meander
question.
into the,
It was going to be a real segue. It was
yeah,
going to be like we had planned it. And it was like, look how naturally we just went into the meaty part of the conversation.
yes. Ah, it was all working so well.
Yeah, I made sure it stopped working well. I
Mm,
was right on top of that. This is
dang.
too smooth.
I, I don't want to answer because I feel like
That's the way conversations work.
I'm not answering.
I decline.
No. Um, I because I just think that is something I'm constantly aware of, not in like not even in like a frugal sense or like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid to spend this money, but um I'm really paying attention to we've been talking about like the experience of something, really paying attention to okay, if I paid this much so I would not have to, spend my time or I wouldn't have to I don't know, do this, spend my energy, um, then I'm really paying attention to things now. And it just leaves you open to both notice what's really worth it and what's really not worth it. I think there is something I bought. It's a horrible story and example for this.
Oh, good.
Because
Let's tell the people.
There, like the this like shopping community I'm a part of on Facebook, like raves about this body oil perfume. I can't do cologne perfume. I can't do like perfume. Ugh. But this is one of those like you put it on and it's not a perfume, but it like enhances your whatever. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, people are stopping me in the street because it smells so good, but not overpowering and da da da. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this. I don't I don't like buy scents. And this is like a good amount of money to pay for something. Okay. And I bought like the sample size and went about my life wearing it and like no one stopped me in the streets. And
Devastating.
I like the smell, but it only lasts like until midday. And so I went on and I was back in my shopping community. I was like, clack, clickety clack, clack, clack. Like, I'm not having the experience most people are. But then the reason it's not a good story is I ended up buying like the full size when it was kind of on sale.
Plot twist. I don't really love it, but I
I
bought
don't.
a bigger version of it.
I really value all this data and these questions that I'm asking about what's worth it and what's not. But then I take that and I'm like, forget that. I'm going to do what I want because I like the smell. Um, but another plot twist, quite honestly, it lasts longer and people do smell it in the full size. However, I apply that. So anyway, that's my
Hmm.
that's my thing. I could go on. I could go on about the skincare things I've ordered that I'm like, is this working or am I just shiny? But yes, that's my experience there, and I could probably look around the room I'm in right now and find other things that fit into that.
So, so here's the thing about what you just said. I think it has a lot to, it relates to value and our
Yeah.
relationship to it. So the people who were raving about it valued it a lot for one reason or another. And you were like, I don't know, it's okay, but like for the amount they're charging, I'm not sure I value it. And then did I hear you say like when it was on sale, you bought the big one?
Yes.
Right? So
And
when the price was lower, your relationship to the value changed and it was like, all right,
I can do that.
now it doesn't feel expensive anymore.
Yes. And that I did the value tension was like other people aren't noticing this and noticing me, um, which I do value. Um, but I really like the smell as someone who does not like smells, and that feels rare. And so that felt like, ooh, if something rare comes along, like, and can kind of meet me there, that feels really valuable.
Hmm. So you still use it
Yeah,
right now?
it's totally gone. Actually, I don't think I put it on today. Um, yes, this is the place where we have talked ad nauseum here about like the people are sick of it. We've heard from the people. They're saying, we get it, know what you care about. But that does seem like the intersection here with what people will, what a home design project costs. Like that is going to need to align with what you value in it, in the end product and in the process.
Yeah. So, um, I'm going to try a non-remodeling example,
Okay.
and you tell me if it sticks or not. So, pick a hotel brand that's a luxury brand known for service.
Okay.
Like there are a few, right? Like
You want me to say it out loud? I'm
I don't
acting
care.
like it's
No,
a
no, I
card
like.
trick. Like, should I show it?
Yeah, look in your back pocket. There's I wrote it on a piece of paper.
It's 2 for now.
No,
Okay,
so like
yes.
you don't have to say it, but like anybody in your car, at the office, making dinner, like people listening right now, like there's a two or three very well-known hotel brands that really put an emphasis on guest services.
Yeah.
So part of what you're paying for is a bed to sleep in. More of what you're paying for is the process of checking in, how the people in the hotel treat you while you're there. You know, do they automatically just take your bags up? Like all of the other stuff that's outside of the room. The room needs
Mm-hmm.
to be nice, but all of the other stuff outside of that room has to go into your expectations of what that luxury hotel experience is. So
Yeah.
if you went to TripAdvisor and looked at a hotel like that, right? I don't know. I don't even know if TripAdvisor is a thing. Kayak? That was a thing for a while,
Oh,
or
I was with you. I think
oh, okay.
TripAdvisor is a
Is
thing.
it still a thing?
We're gonna say so. It's our podcast.
Yeah.
So, so you go to the site of your
Yeah.
choice.
And look up that hotel and then
Yeah.
look at the reviews.
Oh.
You're going to find 1-star reviews,
Hmm.
right? You're going to find a lot of 5-star reviews. The service didn't change between the 1-star review and the 5-star review. The expectations of the service from those individual people are what was different.
Ooh.
So when we talk about what does expensive really mean, the people who give that hotel a 1-star review think that hotel is really expensive. And because they think it's expensive, their expectations are artificially high. So when they go there and it's like, well, like I walked in the door and nobody sat me on a cloud and floated me up to my room, so this was awful.
Mm,
Right? So there is a misalignment between what their expectations are and what reality is. So that's what we were talking
right.
about a little bit with that value of the nice smelling oil um, that you got, right? But this has a service component um, to it, right? So like
Yeah.
you can translate it to other types of things. Am I tracking with this?
Yeah. 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 I go back to how people don't even, whether it's a hotel or a body oil or a car or a home design project, how people may not even get to these questions when there's a price tag right up front, or when you're just asking what's the cost of it. um I think that's where, like, I it seems like there's so many ways to, like, bypass this process, um depending on who you go to, who you're working with, if they're willing to just be like, yeah, this is the cost, this is the price, without going into, like, here's what you get for that, and budget conversations and all of that. So it is tracking, but I go back to the beginning.
Which part's the beginning?
The beginning of,
Which
like,
beginning?
the beginning of, you see something and you see what you want, you see the price tag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from there, just because, like, here's what it is, like, people just have in their mind, like, there's a certain number to me that is just universally expensive. Like, whether it's $100 or $200 or $1,000 or $100,000, like, there's just when people take that, like, no questions asked, no insight, and, like, look at a price tag and see, oh, that's expensive, or maybe see pictures of a really nice home and automatically go, oh, I bet that's expensive. Like, it seems like there are lots of ways to bypass figuring out what's aligned versus what is expensive.
Yeah, because expensive is one of those words that means something different to everyone.
Yeah,
Like if Jeff Bezos was buying a car, like he wouldn't even consider the car that I ended up thinking was expensive,
right.
right? Like our relationship to that amount of money is completely different, right? So like his expectations of that car is like I don't know, maybe he drives a 3 Series. I don't know him, but I would imagine, he's got a driver or he has a super fancy car or something, right? Like I'm out here driving myself like a schlub. Um,
A
right. So like,
schlub.
right. But like our perspective of it is different. So when I think of the word expensive, I often think compared to what?
Yeah.
Like we need to create context to have a comparison. So if we transition
Hmm.
to our industry and we talk about someone's home, like if you said, okay, on that spectrum of services, I'm gonna talk to the white glove service.
Yeah.
Almost all of the time, I used to work at a firm like that. Depending on who you are, you may or may not consider Designed Happy a firm like that. Um, but I worked at a company that marketed themselves as concierge level, white glove, like we're the top of the top. Oftentimes, when we were talking about money, the first reaction from people was like, oh, that's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So the follow-up question is, okay, like that's fine. Like that's your opinion of the number. Like your opinion can't be wrong, but expensive compared to what? And it's like, well, this guy down the street said, it would be a third of that number. So it's like, okay, well, the two things aren't the same.
Yeah.
So like the white glove feels expensive because the context was created for a project that included far less service.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, as you're saying that, it's, and again, what I'm saying with like looking at the price tag of a service goes back to needing to understand that this isn't a product, that there is an end product, but this is primarily a service, and like what that financial cost is saving you as far as
Mm-hmm.
money and energy goes. So basically, I'm calling back to like what, two of our previous episodes, it, the graph,
Mm-hmm.
the line graph, and it feels like it really requires people to understand that it is an experience and it is something that you will pay for no matter what. Um, yeah, that it might cost a lot, but what does it save as far as time and energy goes?
Yeah. And the trouble is everybody thinks about expensive related to money,
Yeah.
right? Me too. Everybody, because that's the most obvious way to think about what's being invested
Hmm.
is money. But you bring up a good point that when we think about that chart and the linear relationship between money invested and time and energy and stress invested, if you really don't want the process to be stressful and you want to spend as little time as possible, then it should be easy to get to the point where you're like, I understand what the money is for, and it doesn't feel money expensive because the value I get back is all of this extra time in my life and the reduced stress I'm going to feel.
Mm. I
Mm.
well, I know we're gonna I know we're gonna talk about this in a future episode. It's that return on investment question
Mhm.
too, which again feels so left out of a lot of conversation with knowing that it is about getting clear on what's valuable to you in the in the end product and in the process. Is there anything that I'm wondering you would say, like, universally needs to be valued by clients?
Um, I my gut is to say yes, but I think the answer is no. Uh,
Well, that's complicated.
because I'm trying to think. It was like, okay, like showing up when you're gonna say you're showing up, we're gonna show up, right? Like a lot of people would say, yeah, if you tell me you're gonna start work on Tuesday, I'm gonna get my whole life together so I can make it so that you can start work on Tuesday. But universally, I don't know. Like if somebody really valued their money the most
Yeah.
and they talked to this would often be like a neighborhood contractor who's working for wages. So again, there's nothing good or bad about that inherently. as
Right.
long as you know what you're buying. So if that type of contractor is the type that would normally show up one day and then go to a different job another day and a different job the third day, and they'd kind of bounce around to their jobs because it's just them and there's no team, and basically what you're paying them is their wage. So if you were a person who's like, I want to spend as little money as possible, that was the most important investment, then you would choose a person who's like, okay, I can do it for the least money, but in exchange for that, I'm going to show up when I'm available to show up. So I don't
Yeah.
think there's a universal answer.
We've said it here before too. It kind of catches me every time. Like if a goal being to spend as little as possible, I guess to me, that's still the the reality is it's more about what do you want to get the money that you have chosen to spend on this. Like just the goal of not if the goal is not spending money, a better project sounds like couponing. Like a good like I think in life in general, I don't mean in a just in a home design project. And I don't mean that as good or bad. Like I've known people who really get a lot of energy from like saving money. And it just feels like if that is a hard thing to apply to something really meaningful. Um, so that this seems like it gets to more of it is about knowing what you have to spend on this project and knowing where you want to put that, whether it is money or time. Um, and I'm wondering, like, is the better question instead of like, is this too expensive? Is this, is this in budget or too expensive? If the better question is like, is this aligned with what we're wanting? Maybe that's not it as I say it out loud, but
No, I think you're onto something. Because so when I'm talking to people about this, we often talk about value.
yeah.
Because I think the word value kind of ties all of it together. Do you find this level of service or this project valuable? Because it if it's the right amount of money, but you need to spend way more time, then it's not going to be valuable
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Mm.
And I'll tell you a quick story where I learned this lesson the hard way. So I used to be a commission salesperson, and I was working at one of the big design build firms in the DC metro area. And my job was to sell remodeling. That's what I thought. And that's how I got paid. Essentially, the amount of money that our family, other than Kat's salary, my contribution was commission based on gross profit of the remodeling projects that I sold.
Mm-hmm.
So if I didn't sell anything, I didn't make any money. So I thought my job was to talk to somebody who wanted to remodel their house and sell them remodeling. And it wasn't until I realized that my job was actually to find a valuable way to solve their problem that I became a successful salesperson. Because
Mm.
when you're just going in and selling something, what I learned was the projects that were the hardest to sell, that took the most amount of my energy, the most number of phone calls, the most number of meetings, the most amount of time pre-signing up,
Yeah.
those were the projects where the homeowners valued what we did the least. So it
Oh.
took a lot of energy for them to be like, okay, like, I guess I sort of understand why I should care about this and I'll sign up. The bad part is that if you buy something you don't value, it feels expensive. And if it feels expensive, then your expectations are misaligned. And
Mm.
if that's true, every part of the process, especially a super emotional process like ripping your house apart, is going to be under the microscope. So those
Yeah.
people that didn't see the value at the beginning, and I didn't know enough to know that they didn't see the value, ended up having the worst experience of all the clients that I worked with because they never wanted what we did from the beginning. And I wasn't sophisticated enough to be able to articulate, hey, listen, if this feels expensive to you now, it is. It's not going to get any easier when we rip your house apart. So you're probably better served working with a company that's more aligned with your goals. You're nodding.
Yeah. This- I it sounds like instead of, or maybe along with, looking at your resources, looking at your time and your money, I'm it is figuring out what you value, what matters in this. I'm like smiling and laughing at it because this is like you're talking about an experience of this within an experience of this, like you figuring out the value
Mm-hmm.
of doing this work within that. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to have an experience like the car or like the perfume, not perfume, to be like, oh, this now shows me actually what matters. And I maybe never would have thought of that before. I never, oh, for that to be with a home is like, I
Right,
don't
yeah.
want to learn it with a home.
That's why we're here, right? Because like
Yeah.
my thing with the car, we leased that car, right? So I was
Yeah.
disappointed for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And then the lease was over and we got a different car, right? It's like in the big scheme of things, was it that much of an issue? No. Good
Right.
lesson learned, but that not like, but you might remodel once or twice in your entire life.
Yeah.
So like this and the whole reason this podcast exists, the book, the newsletter, the blog posts, like all of the energy that we spend on educating people is so you, dear listeners, don't have the bad experiences that you hear about. And unfortunately, when I was a naive salesperson and didn't know enough, you can save yourself from that kind of experience because you'll be able to say, you know what, this feels expensive. We've talked about it a bunch. Like I understand why it costs as much as it costs, but it still feels expensive. So there's something here that I don't value. And let me dig a little bit deeper as to what that is. And hopefully you don't hire a company or get yourself in a situation that's hard to get out of because once you start, it's hard to stop.
I would, and the other thing in there is, okay, say people listen to this and they are inspired and they go and they figure out what really matters to them and what they have as far as time, as far as energy, and as far as financial resources go. And you might get clear on what you need and not have the resources right now available in any of the ways. Like go back to the ways to pay episode and let's just say, for the sake of this argument, like none of those are available. It seems like the other thing is like, that isn't the place to compromise on what you value. That might be the place to, that might not, because that still isn't, it's too expensive. That is oh, the resources aren't available right now. We still feel like the price is aligned with what we value and what we want. Yeah, I wanna put out there I'm in like we're gonna save you mode.
So
Like also that isn't the place to like compromise on. That isn't the place to go to the person that's like, okay, well I'll do it this much cheaper. Um yeah, does that make sense?
so if all of that is true,
Yeah.
one of the things we talked about when we had the episode is what do you control? What does the client actually have control over?
Mm-hmm.
So if you landed on all of those things and it doesn't feel expensive and it's all aligned, except you don't quite have the resources to pull it off right now. The key is right now. The
Yeah.
thing you
Yeah.
have control over is when you do the project. So sometimes the advice is all of this makes a ton of sense except the timing. So let's wait a year.
Yeah. Right. Which is I think it feels like a small but important catch, and a place where we can get into the narrative of it's just too expensive. And it's like, it's not, it's just not the right time.
Mm.
Like, that's where language and framing it and feels like it could change the experience. It could change the way of thinking about it. Ah,
I think we did it.
I think I feel very like, no, don't do it. Like, don't make the mistakes we did. I hope we saved a few souls today. All right. Good talking to you.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.